I watched Final Destination Bloodlines, so here are my spoiler-free thoughts. So I did see this movie in theaters when it came out, but I'm just now getting to my review. I'm a huge fan of the Final Destination franchise. I have a lot of fun with these films, so I was really excited for this one and bringing in this new type of lore with the Bloodlines aspect. I think in general, while these films can feel the same, they do change up the rules a little bit for each film in terms of our set of characters, because not all of them are going to have a general set of rules on how to handle this. They all end up kind of having to navigate it in their own way based on the information that they have. So introducing this generational concept, I think, was really smart and still makes it fit in with the lore of different aspects we've learned throughout these films in this franchise. I think our inciting incident, our beginning premonition, was really cool. That big tower, rife with kind of scary things to bring about some horrific deaths, so I loved that. There were also some really just fun callbacks to the franchise as a whole, which just speaks to the filmmakers really having a lot of love and care for these films in this franchise and understand the material. Generally, I think these films always have at least a few unlikable characters, but this one I really enjoyed all of the characters we got. It didn't shy away from the kind of silly, campy tones, but also had some really solid emotional moments as well. And of course, there were some incredibly fun deaths in this film. My only gripe is the amount of CGI. What I loved about Final Destination 2 was that there were a ton of great practical effects. I love watching those special features and diving into them because we get to see how much was done practically. And they could have done that here as well, but a lot of it just looks like CGI blood and just not very realistic feeling, which, I mean, it's a Final Destination movie. How real do you want it to be? But I think that's the bread and butter of these films are the deaths. So please try to make them look real and gruesome to speak to what this franchise does best. But yeah, a lot of that stuff just looked really CGI heavy, and I just was not a fan of how it looked. But the death set pieces themselves were all really fun and cool. Tony Todd's scene was incredibly emotional. It was so great to see him, knowing this was his last film. The speech that he gives, felt very much of kind of his own personal life situation. A lot of that, I think, was ad-libbed and him just kind of talking, and it was so beautiful. I got very emotional in that moment. And I like that they do find a way to kind of flesh out his character and wrap up his story in this film. So, really well-handled moment with the iconic Tony Todd. I like that family trauma is at the core of this story. I think that makes, this kind of heightened reality of these films have a bit of a grounded aspect that people can relate to. And then, we take that realistic base and then put all of this insanity on top of it. I think that works well for people to connect with this film. Really fun deaths, really fun characters, a great way to bring something fresh to this familiar storytelling, fun callbacks to the franchise as a whole, a little too much CGI, but a ton of fun. So if you're a fan of this franchise, definitely check out Final Destination Bloodlines.